So Keir Starmer is under pressure this morning over Alaa Abdel Fattah, the activist that he welcomed into Britain at the weekend.
Well, since then, old posts have emerged on X, or formerly Twitter, where he called for violence against Jews, white people and police, comments he's now very definitely apologising for, as you would if you want to stay in Britain, of course.
The Conservative Party leader, Kemi Badenoch, says the remarks are disgusting and wants his British citizenship to be reviewed.
Nigel Farage has written to the Home Secretary, urging her to go further than that, to revoke that citizenship entirely and deport him.
Yeah, joining us now is former political advisor Charlie Rowley. The thing is, this is a man who, well, Kemi Badenoch says in the Mail today, she says that he should have received a fair trial in Egypt. That is certainly true about this man. But also, the point is, the second truth is, the comments he made on social media about violence against Jews, white people and the police, amongst others, are disgusting. But the Tory party, when they were in, also supported him.
Yeah, well, all of those things could be true at the same time. So on the back of those comments, which, Eamon, I think you're absolutely right, you would say that when you would apologise if you want to stay in the UK. But his citizenship, as Kemi says, should be reviewed. And if necessary, Nigel Farage can also be right that it should be revoked. Of course, nobody perhaps knew at the time, when people were campaigning for his release, these social media posts that have come to light now, who's at fault of that? Maybe the individual. It's very easy to jump on a campaigning bandwagon, like I think some people in the art circles have done, calling for his release without knowing the full facts. But it didn't take long, clearly, for journalists and people on social media to expose these tweets that he'd made, these awful comments.
Which he had deleted.
Which he had deleted, you're absolutely right.
So on a cursory look, you could understand why perhaps if you were just doing cursory looks on these things, you might have missed them.
Yes, exactly. No politician, whatever their colours, is going to support someone with these views to have citizenship. However, it's now what happens. It's now who didn't do the due diligence, and that could have been the civil service, that could have been officials within the Foreign Office. But the flagrant campaigning by, it seems, more of the Labour Party and the Labour government to have him released is one thing, over and above, I suppose, everybody else. But does this man have to have his citizenship revoked? I think, if necessary, absolutely. You could apologise for these comments. Lucy Connolly made some awful comments not so long ago when she called for the burning down of a mosque when there were riots taking place in Southport, on the back of a killing of 3 very, very young girls. It was horrible. She said something that she didn't want to, or she didn't mean to. She apologised. She deleted that tweet. She was banged up for 18 months. This guy makes some awful tweets, anti-Semitic, hate, vile, anti-British, anti-Western tweets that are attack virtually on all of us, and gets UK citizenship. Yep. That is the discrepancy.
Charlie, do you know why he did get that citizenship? His mother was living here. I don't think she lives here now.
She was born in London, his
She
mother.
was born in London, yeah. So that qualifies him. She was born in London, then she obviously
went to Egypt, yeah.
Egypt. And then they got a bit fed up during the Arab Spring. They said too much, and they came back to England.
I don't think that. Alaa Abdel Fattah, I think he stayed in Egypt, which is why he was in jail.
To complain about the Arab Spring.
He stayed in Egypt, yes, exactly. Yeah. He stayed in Egypt and he campaigned.
And the Egyptians then did the right thing, and they thought, we were saying a bit too much about this, you're going into the nick.
Well, he was pro-democracy, anti the Muslim Brotherhood, which is why Britain supported him.
And you're absolutely right. I mean, Egypt, he was arrested and convicted in Egypt for spreading what they said was fake news and for social media posts, funny enough. But
hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living. And maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver, and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
We are now joined by Reform UK MP, and that is for East Wiltshire. Danny Kruger. Good morning, Danny.
Good morning. Good morning.
Kemi Badenoch today, she's called for the deportation of this Egyptian dissident. She says, I don't want people who hate Britain coming into our country. Where do you stand?
Well, we're in the same place. Nigel Farage wrote to the Home Secretary yesterday to make the same point, that it is entirely wrong. I'm afraid to say it was a Conservative government in the last Parliament that gave this man British citizenship, entitling him to come to this country. And it speaks of a broader problem we see, which is that the Home Office is waving through applications, whether it's for humanitarian right to remain, refugee status, or citizenship, without doing proper background checks, and they're prioritising either sort of political virtue signalling, as in this case, or just speeding up applications to clear the backlog in the case of illegal immigrants, rather than putting the British people first and doing their job properly. So,
but Danny,
yes,
I just want to know what your options are.
removed.
Is it as simple as saying deport him? I mean, this is a guy that served time in Egypt. He's certainly no friend of his homeland. With this, can we in all seriousness and all consciousness say, off you go back to the place where you heralded the Arab Spring, and that wasn't very welcome. But
pro-democracy, anti-Muslim brotherhood.
Yeah, what way are you going to be received there? Can we really do that?
We have to remove him from this country. That is the principal priority, and that's the main job of the British government, is to ensure our people are safe. And it's utterly wrong that we should be accommodating this man. If he can find another country to go to other than Egypt, then we should accommodate that. But the first job of the government is to protect our people, not to give asylum to everyone in the world who has fallen out with their own government.
These are Twitter posts which were deleted. Do you have some sympathy with the civil service who were going through and would have been looking perhaps at Twitter posts and not seeing that these were actually there coming up?
Well, I'm afraid it speaks of a dysfunctional system, doesn't it? I mean, yes, perhaps that's right. However, I think civil servants have a higher obligation than simply to scour, the transparent and obvious posts. If journalists can find these posts, so should our own government be able to. We should do proper background checks, which includes a real deep trawl of people's social media history. You would have thought that our intelligence services would be able to very quickly, and not least using AI, modern technology, should be extremely easy to identify whether people have been making unacceptable comments in public, as this man did. So, no, I'm afraid I don't sympathise with the government's failure here. And as I said, it speaks to a broader failure of our Home Office that is waving through applications for people who simply shouldn't be in this country.
Danny, could I just bring you to the Ukrainian situation and the talks between President Trump and President Zelensky yesterday? Putin watching all that's going on. Have they done enough to get him to say, OK, I'm going to call the whole thing off?
See, won't we? These talks are understandably private. What we've heard overnight is encouraging. I mean, we've seen this before, so let's not get false hope here. But the fact that the Ukrainians seem prepared to cede greater territory than they were before, the fact that President Trump was indicating that he's had encouraging conversations with Putin, should give us some cause for hope. But ultimately, our position is that this needs to be a decision that the Ukrainian government is content with. So it's not a question of whether Putin is happy, it's whether the Ukrainians are. And we stand with them. And I'm very hopeful that our government is putting the right amount of pressure through its contacts, including with the United States administration, to ensure that we get a just end to this war.
Danny Kruger, appreciate your take on things and your comments. Danny Kruger is a Reform UK MP. Thank you very much.
Thank you.